People all across the globe are demanding a better choice for renewable energy that is less expensive. I am proposing a government grant program called Sail In with Solar and Wind. This program would supply our nation's citizens with the equipment necessary to access solar and wind energy grids. The initial cost for this changeover from conventional electric service would in the end save billions of dollars in natural resources such as coal, oil, natural gas, and water. This proposal has the ability to turn around our lifeless economy by creating jobs and possibly international revenue. The United States government has already allocated grant money for businesses and governmental offices to change over from electric to green renewable energy. We now need a federal grant to fund a residential conversion from electric to solar and wind power. The average taxpayer cannot continue to pay the overwhelming rising costs of electric bills, especially with a need to replace our already costly power plants. Our current electrical plant systems cannot meet the ever-increasing demand for more power because our old systems are breaking down. The industry is facing an even higher cost because of our aging fleet of power plants, said Duke Energy spokesperson Betsy Conway during a recent interview. Consumers' electric bills have continued to skyrocket during the last 5 years. Electricity is consuming a greater share of Americans' after-tax income than any time since 1996. Roughly $1.50 per every $100 earned is going to electricity at a time when income growth is stagnated. As shocking as it may be, 42% of our country's nearly 4 trillion kilowatt hours of electricity use coal as its energy source. As most people know, coal is a limited commodity. It will run out eventually. Electric consumption totaling a staggering 3,856 billion kilowatt hours in 2011 is 13 times greater than electric use in the 1950s when power supplies were not an issue. We're still running on the same old outdated systems today. The average peak day ahead wholesale electricity prices rose in every region of the lower 48 states in the first half of 2013. The most important factor involved was the rising cost of natural gas used to power electrical plants. Greater electric use at home and higher prices per kilowatt hour are both driving up costs. We currently are paying so far this year $11.8 per residential kilowatt hour. We cannot reasonably, as consumers, continue paying energy prices that are rising at a runaway freight train rate. Solar energy is the most abundant on Earth. 173,000 terawatts of solar energy strike the Earth continually, which is more than 10,000 times the total world's energy use at this time. The current price per solar module is now nearly $1 per watt and continues to plummet. This proposal would harness that energy and produce a way to contain it to be used at a later time. This opportunity to change the way we harness energy has only positive results. Every photovoltaic system leads to a reduction of emission of greenhouse gases by saving our natural resources that are now being used to run all electrical power plants. A 1 kilowatt solar power system saves the environment and provability 850 kilograms of CO2 emissions every year. The installation of such a unit takes less than 4 days to install and lasts 20 to 25 years with very little maintenance. Solar energy has the highest long-term potential of all renewable energy sources. When we combine use of solar power and then incorporate the already booming wind industry, it is a winning combination. In 2012, over 60 gigawatts of new wind power capacity was added to the U.S. grid. A recent study that reviewed this issue entitled "The Benefits of 20% Wind Energy by 2030" states people around the globe could very well eliminate 15,200 million pounds of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2030. We could achieve 2 times that amount of eliminated carbon dioxide by 2050 by only increasing wind power by 20%. We would also be able to cut water use in the electrical market by 8%. That's 4 trillion gallons of water saved. This also reduces natural gas use by 12%, saving the public $130 billion. The economic impact is huge. Not only does it save tax dollars, but it would provide much-needed jobs to our failing economy. Wind farms and manufacturing would draw jobs to local communities for safety personnel, managers, engineers, assembly workers, administrators, mechanical operators, environmental impact assessment surveyors, truckers, and trainers. With the current national jobless rate at 7.4 and rising, adding jobs would give a much-needed boost to the unemployed. Producing renewable electricity is associated with wind and solar power, and although these power sources are clean and renewable, the myth has become that it can be a bit unreliable since they don't produce power when the sun isn't out or the wind stops. It would be imperative that this plan include funding to scientists to perfect methods they have already been discovering to store this abundant energy supply. Did you know that currently the interconnected network that delivers electric to suppliers and consumers has virtually no storage at all? The ones that do exist use pumped hydropower, a system that pumps water up a hill to a reservoir only when excess electric is available, which is not very efficient and seems like a waste of taxpayers' dollars. This is not a new concept we are talking about here. The first silicon cell, the precursor of all solar-powered devices, was built by Bell Laboratories in 1954. On page 1 of its April 26, 1954 issue in the New York Times proclaimed the milestone, the beginning of a new era, the harnessing of the limitless energy of the sun for use by civilization. 59 years have passed since that groundbreaking event. Why are we not taking advantage of this opportunity? Our government spends $2 million a year to United States farmers to not farm their own land and $30 million on a program that was designed to help Pakistani farmers produce more mangoes. It seems reasonable that they could fund a national program that saves billions upon billions of dollars of our national resources and lowers dangerous emissions. The only current program available in the state of Oregon is the Oregon Solar Incentive Program, or OSIP, which provides commercial customers of Pacific Power and PGE to be eligible to apply for the solar payment program. This is an exclusive Energy Trust cash contribution. Participants receive premium payments for every kilowatt hour the participant's solar grid produces for the next 15 years. This program is allotted via a lottery that takes place on October in 2013. The program seems to be moving in the right direction, but it is slow and has the expectation that the business owner or consumer should shoulder the payment for the solar grid. With the cost of living rising daily and the income level floundering ridiculously low, how is the American consumer going to shoulder yet another cost? The proposal also has a greater potential to produce added revenues for the United States on the global market by producing solar and wind packages. If we can perfect the installation of this abundant energy source and how to store excess energy effectively, then other nations may be interested in buying our solar generation systems, which will allow other countries to make the transition themselves to clean, renewable energy at a global level. This proposal is a challenge to the world to take a look without a blind eye at the reasonable benefits versus cost ratios of solar and wind power. This limitless energy source has been an option available for almost 60 years now. The old argument that it is just too expensive to change over to solar and wind just doesn't hold any longer, especially with an increasing demand for more energy. The possibility to ensure power for the future generations indefinitely, save natural resources, save wasted tax dollars, produce jobs for a struggling economy, add revenue for the United States, place more money in the hands of the average consumer, and provide a positive global environmental impact is just too great to ignore any longer. If you still can't see the unlimited potential here, then you are really living in the dark. Maybe, literally.